Okay guys, I just did a guide for every 1 or 2 cases what you should do to your vise. This is going to be the guide for anywhere between 8 and 12 cases. Other than the cleaning out the eyes, bolt, and rammer, which is every case 2-3 area, every weekend basically, you need to also relube your HPR and LPR, along with your poppet, and make sure your poppet spring's nothing wrong with it. Do not take apart your LPR unless you have an LPR tester, okay? Just don't do it. Unless you know somebody with an LPR tester, don't take apart your LPR, because it's almost impossible to set back to original settings. It's like 5 psi per 1/8 of a turn, so it's very, very precise. Anyway, all you do is undo the macro and unscrew the reg. Okay, I'm going to move this a little bit upwards so I have some more space to work. And remove this macro. Come on. Come on. Try not to shake the table. Okay. Now, here's your HPR. All I need to do to the HPR is take it, grab both ends, and twist. If you have to, use a strap wrench, put a wrench on this, and put a crescent wrench or a monkey wrench and just hit it with a hammer to get it started. I don't know. Depends how hard the last person torqued it on. Come apart nice and clean. 2 halves. Now I'm using 50. I'm not using 55. I'm using Lurker lube only. Bob says 55. I don't care. You can use 55. That's what the manual says. That's what will not void your warranty. I'm using Lurker. So your parts may come out a lot harder than mine, but for this, all you have to do is... Oh yeah. My bad. For this, you actually have to go inside the bottom of the reg with your key for adjusting velocity, unscrew it, pop it down. Now, if you did it right, and you can pull it straight up, you'll have a nice little stack of what you have inside your reg. Flip it over, because this is a shim stack, not a spring, and that's all you have. Your poppet, or whatever you want to call it, your shim stack, and your adjustment screw. Just take the adjustment screw and put it back in. Just unscrew it, or just screw it in until it's flush so you don't lose it. You really don't have to do anything to that. Okay, now for the shim stack. In case you did go when you first started and everything fell off, you'll see that each shim stack has a slight curve to it. It looks sort of like those pieces that you had when you were a kid. You push down the center and put them on a table, and then they'd snap and bounce off. They look like a really, really small dome. You put the flat side against the bottom of this downward piece, and then you put the curved side up, and then you put the flat side down, and you just keep alternating. Notice how 2 of these pieces go flat against each other. The 2 sides that are touching right now are the flat sides. When you have them like this, they have a little break. The 2 sides that are touching right now are the rounded sides. Start out with a flat side on bottom, and then put the rounded side down first, and then put the flat side down first, and then the rounded, and then the flat, and then the rounded, and then the flat, and then the rounded. See, when you have it done, it should look like this. It should be flush against this piece at the bottom, and then alternating, and with a flat part on top. Now, for this part, all you really need to do is just put a minor dab of glue, or not glue, lube around this, just so it slides a little easier, and then put a little on the bottom so the adjustment screw doesn't scratch anything. Then just drop it down inside your rig, and make sure the shim stack doesn't screw itself up. Shove it down to the bottom. Okay, now this has 1 O-ring on it. That's it. Grab some lube, not glue, lube, and smear it on. There really is no over-lubing in HPR. I've never found it possible. Just get it on there. Of course I would. I'm gonna say not to, like glob it on to the point that it looks like a giant white piece instead of a white piece with an O-ring and some lube on it, but just put it on there. Any excess will, go on the metal, I don't know, fly out, go somewhere. Anyway, shove it down with the flat side downwards. It'll have a little dent in the bottom. This one has a very, very small hole in the top, a very small dent in the top. Put that side upwards, push it down, and you really never have to worry about this half. You never have to worry about this half. Make sure you don't lose this part though. This part goes on top of this spring. Just a little metal cylinder, I'm guessing as a spacer. Make sure you don't lose that. And then screw right. Oh, there's one O-ring right in here, right at the top of the threads. I don't know. I guess for sealing. Let's put a little lube on that so it seals correctly and swells and whatever you want it to do, depending on your lube. Screw it back together nice and tight. Voila, you're done with your HPR. Now we'll just set that out to the side. Okay, now don't put your HPR back in. If you don't have an LPR tester, this is how you lube your HPR. You take one of your Allen keys. There's a screw down in here, inside the HPR slot. Take one of your Allen keys. There we go. Break the seal, and then just unscrew it a couple times until it comes out. And it should just plop into your hand. Okay, now after that, move your Allen key so you don't scratch your gun. It's basically pulling the HPR or the LPR. It might be harder. It should be harder for those of you using 55 because it'll swell your O-rings. Take out your LPR and stand it like that. Now after that, there's a way to get out your poppet like this. You can just like push your gun forward. Supposedly, it never works for me. It only gets the spring out. What I have to do is take out the bolt. Take a wrench back here. Ew! I hurt myself. Undo the back cap. Pop out the rammer that I just lubed. Oh well. And then you either take a piece of macro, or really anything that'll fit down there. Shove it down in the poppet tube like this. I'd suggest macro because it's not hard. And then push, push, and your poppet should fall right out. Voila. There's your poppet. Now I'm going to put the rammer in because I just lubed it and I don't want to lose all the lube that I just put on it. So, ignore that. If your poppet does come out without you having to do that, congrats. It'll save you a lot of work. Voila. Okay. Again, I'm going to put the gun off to the side. That's all you need to do as far as taking it apart. Why do I keep putting this tape together? There we go. Okay, take your poppet. There should be some grime on here. Just wipe it off. Wipe it off of the seal. Make sure you do not scratch the bottom of the cup seal in here. That's where it seals against the metal. If that gets scratched, you're screwed. Just basically wipe everything off. Take your spring. Wipe it down a little bit. Take your LPR. Wipe off these 3 O-rings on the outside. Now, what you do here is you take your LPR velocity adjusting screw, or PSI adjusting screw, not screw, wrench, undo this brass nut, which I do suggest putting Loctite on, and then take a larger wrench, you'll know which one, put it inside the cap, and undo it. Again, I suggest Loctite. Then this is going to be really hard. Okay, this part will be easy. The spring will come out, and your retaining plate will come out. This part is going to be hard. There is a poppet down the bottom that is very stubborn. There we go. With 55, it's going to be extremely stubborn. It's deep down in there. Don't even try unless you have super small pliers. Okay, it's very small. Very, very small. Just wipe it down again. Wipe down your spring. You don't have to worry about the retainer. Anyway, what you do, all you need to do for your LPR is take this, grab some lube, put it on there, and spray it around.